Use artificial intelligence and Optastats to build your new squad for the new season. Analyse the highest owned players and most popular starting squad currently entered into the FPL. Upload your squad at fantasyfootballfix.com now to improve your FPL performance. Click the link below or head over to fantasyfootballfix.com to get started. Are we all victims of hive mentality? How can we be overlooking David Silva when he's such good value for money? The issue with David Silva is mainly one, the rotation, but it's two, the fact that we see players like De Bruyne and Sterling and we just assume they're going to have a higher ceiling to their points totals. So Sterling can of course have a game where he scores a hat-trick. De Bruyne can get 3 assists in a game. Silva is one of those that is very consistent. And if we have a look at Man City, and we look at the points actually scored, Silva is very close behind Sterling. So you could quite easily have De Bruyne and David Silva, and then imagine what you could do with the team elsewhere. Bernardo Silva isn't even a bad shout, but David Silva is very good value for money, and right now he's matching. The issue is he hasn't usually matched the big hitters like Sterling before. And again, it's a bit... You mentioned hive mentality. Who was it? Thiago Ferreira. So you mentioned high mentality, but also jumping off of Sterling and De Bruyne because of slightly lackluster performances, again, seems a bit like a rash decision because we know what these two players are capable of, Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling. So to suddenly, just because they're not performing straight away, jump off them, does seem like you're bolting off the cart before you've given the horses a chance to run. Don't even know if that was a good analogy, probably wasn't. But it'll be interesting to have a look at all three against each other. So we've got Sterling, we've got De Bruyne, and we've got Silva is on the first page. And then we can click show selected by. So we can see that goal involvement wise, we've got 11 for De Bruyne, 7 for Sterling, and 7 for David Silva. So that is why David Silva is so close to Sterling points-wise. It's because goal involvements are the same. Expected FPL points, which you can see at the end there, is actually a lot lower for David Silva. So he's the site suggesting that he's outperforming his underlying stats. If we look at shots, 13 to De Bruyne's 19 to Sterling's 29. Shots inside the box, again, you're looking at 11 to 4 to 5. So Silva does have more shots in the box. More shots on target, I'm actually reading right now. David Silva has more shots on target than De Bruyne, but a lot less than Raheem Sterling. Shots inside the box, De Bruyne's got 12, David Silva's 8, Sterling's got 26. 11 big chances for Sterling, 3 for De Bruyne, 4 for Silva. Now, that suggests that Sterling's in the kind of goal-scoring areas where he should be scoring more. Although he has scored 6 in 9 game weeks, which isn't terrible. And that is higher than his expected goals. Big chances for De Bruyne and Silva are lower, 3 and 4. Expected goals a lot higher for Sterling again. However, when you come to assists, again, Raheem Sterling and De Bruyne higher. Attempted assists that result in a shot on target, again, they're higher than Silva. Expected assists, again, much higher for the other two than it is for David Silva. I say much higher. It's only 0.9 higher for Sterling than it is for Silva. Expected FPL points, Sterling's meant to have scored the most. And if you actually look, his expected points is very close to his actual points, 54.5 to 53. De Bruyne is outperforming his stats, getting 66 to 51.7. Silva's outperforming his stats, 51 to 42.3. However, he is almost half the price of Sterling, which could help you build your team elsewhere. It comes to your squad management. If you, like me, want to be able to have Mane Salah double up, or maybe a City double up, you need those premium price players in certain slots, which then stops you from being able to get David Silva. So what you could do instead is compare David Silva to some players that are scoring around the same points that are around the same price. So Mount's a bit cheaper. Mahrez is more expensive. Bernardo Silva, Grealish. Could look at McGinn. Could look at Maddison's probably the closest price-wise. that's easily brought in for Silva. So in fact, let's just do a direct comparison of those two. So if we compare those two, Silva just outperforms him on expected points. Shots on goal, Maddison actually has more shots on goal, more shots from inside the box, but one less on target, same amount of big chances. But you can see expected goals is higher for David Silva. Of course, the actual returns is better for David Silva, but you could argue Maddison and Leicester have had some tough fixtures. Attempted assists, Maddison's higher. Assists that result in a shot on target, Silva's is actually higher, 7-5. Potentially that's because he's got better players around him. And expected assists is at 1.3 for Maddison to 1.9 for Silva. So Silva does seem to be, potentially, and we'll just check by selecting some of those other players, the best option around that price bracket. We'll give these others a chance to outshine him because I think they're generally the ones a lot of people are looking at. So that would be my shortlist of midfielders around that price range that I would consider. And if we go to expected points, just as a gauge point, and this is why I'm so annoyed at myself for not bringing in Grealish instead of McGinn. Of course, that game for Aston Villa over the weekend has improved his stats. But I just, because he was more advanced, I considered it, and then I still went McGinn. More of a shield move than a sword move when I potentially need to be going for sword moves right now to improve my rank. Expected points for Grealish is 45.7. Expected points for Mount is 43.3. David Silva 42.3. Then you've got McGinn, who is cheaper than Silva by almost 2 million at 41.1. So I would argue that the problem with people ignoring Silva is the fact that if you're looking at just City, De Bruyne and Sterling seem like better options. If you're looking in that price bracket, Mount seems the best option in that price bracket. If you're going with two, potentially some people are just going for a cheaper player. Some people just have too many Man City already. If you've got De Bruyne and Sterling already, you may have a Man City defender, that's your free. Or if you've got De Bruyne and Aguero and then a City defender, that's your free. So I think that's why so many people haven't been looking at David Silva. But, I mean, you can't argue with those underlying stats. I'll just argue that right now, even though Silva's got more points, do I see that continuing? I would probably go with Mount just because that 2 points difference when Mount should have scored more according to the stats. And Chelsea do look like a good side with some good fixtures now that will score goals. Unfortunately, they didn't do the business against Newcastle, but they've done very well, Chelsea. And they look like a team that can score similar amounts of goals to your Man Cities and Liverpools in certain fixtures. So that would be my take on that question. I feel like I talked about that one for a while.
I said I got this, none of this radio pop shit. I dropped this, turning back the clock to rock shit. I cop it, said knock knock, I'm on this. I'm hot bitch, like a hot bitch, it's tough. I lock in, I got this, radio drop this. Hot shit, just watch this, I fucking promise. Roll it to